life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes and people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind me, but let me get to it. The stupid shit I was doing, left other men dead of their lives is just ruined. From ODs to stick-ups going wrong, I stay sharp. Can think the way my mind think, dog. You
Welcome everyone to Culture Corner Wrestling episode 7. We're at number 7 already. It feels like it's been number 3, but we're at number 7. And we're going to lead off with the top story since Saturday, something that a lot of us probably didn't even think was going to happen. And a lot of fans probably would have bet their houses on that would never happen. And he's back. Punk is back in the WWE. Kind of a crazy situation. The way he showed up, just walking out there. We know we have some issues with it. Some of us do more than others. Some of us like what's going on. And so, yeah, we're going to get into it. I'm going to let Shaw start off first. King, you'll go up next. I'll take the ass end of the deal. And, yeah, Shaw, what do you think about Survivor Series 2023 and Punk's return to the WWE?
All right, so I guess this is actually a perfect way to start with me because I'm kind of like always to an extent meh about CM Punk in general. Like I kind of just don't really get the appeal other than the aspect of you never really know what he is going to say or do. But it's like, so I get that part, but beyond that, like all the best in the world talk, like I've watched his matches and things like that, and I just don't see like I don't see best in the world in the ring. On the mic, he's pretty good when he has like something to work with and like an aim. But if he doesn't have an aim, I'm just kind of like, all right, this is kind of just a guy talking. But to me, like you said, I don't think anybody really thought that was actually going to happen, him coming back like that. For me, so like basically, wow, holy shit, excuse my language, but you know, that was crazy. The pop was insane. You know, the crowd like ate that up, but it's Chicago. They knew what they were doing there. Like they always pop for Punk. That's always going to be a thing. Definitely, you know, kudos to WWE for like being the bigger people and, you know, making this happen for the fans and whatnot. And I also think the Endeavor aspect might have a part to play as well because they did good business with Punk and had a good experience with him. So I think that may have like that and him probably ironing things out with Triple H probably was like the two things that really got it done in the end. Because Punk knew now that, you know, Vince McMahon isn't the one that's going to determine what's going to happen with him. He now knows it's going to be, you know, the people at Endeavor who have treated him well. So I definitely think that had a part to play. As far as like his Monday Night Raw speech, I was again just meh. Depending where it goes, obviously with him kind of off mic at the end saying, you know, after that whole speech about like, oh, there's people in the back hugging, kissing me, and blah 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 blah, and then off mic him saying like, what was it? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. Was kind of like to me signaling that this whole like beginning phase right now might be like the parade and the welcome back, and then it's back to like heel Punk with him against potentially Seth Rollins, it looks like. So I'm kind of hoping that's what they do with it instead of like making him like the big hero returning home. Let the fans eat it up like they have been, like they did the first night and then on Raw, and then, you know, go back into heel because the crowd really loves Rollins right now. And he's the guy that was always sticking up for WWE and them having these like basically online interactions, even though they weren't direct, you know, talking trash to each other basically and like really like digging in too. So, I mean, it's going to be crazy. WWE deserves a lot of credit for this, and I'm very hard on them most of the time for good reason in the past. However, you know, you got to look at it like I was saying before with Vince McMahon gone. It's not the same people running it, so you are kind of seeing a shift and a difference in the way they're doing things, even on screen. Never mind behind the scenes. And then I just think it's great for wrestling in general because now, regardless of how you feel about Punk, like I said, I'm mad on him, but people seem to like him. He makes money. The crowd eats it up. I mean, it just makes sense, and it's good for wrestling in general. And it's like the rising tide raises all boats and whatnot. So it's like it's only good for the bottom line for wrestling. And it's just going to grow the audience because it's making such a big deal, hopefully. And I mean, I don't see much negative to it unless you just really hate Punk.
There's definitely money. There's
big deal.
definitely money.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you make a good point, Shy, as to I can see why people are kind of mad on him in terms of like maybe just being a guy like without a direction. He kind of just is a guy talking. So, and I think when I was younger, I think that's why I didn't get the appeal. I think now that I'm older, I kind of get it now because there's more of a direction. I have a better understanding of what his value was maybe when he first came into the business in terms of like his feuds with, certain baby faces in the company or whatever, whether it was WWE at first, AEW eventually, whatever the case may be. But I can say like that 10-year-old, 11-year-old version of me is definitely hyped though. Simply because as I'm getting older and as like my favorites growing up are getting older, it kind of does bring the nostalgia back, and it's good for business in terms of obviously he was already bringing enough business to one company, and he goes back to an old company that he's kind of started out with, and the people are excited about it. They're gonna eat it up. However, back to what I was originally saying, I do agree that unless there is a direction for him, then it's kind of like, man, he's kind of just like a guy that's just talking. But I do feel like one thing that we can turn out from a positive for sure about him returning is there's a lot there. There's a lot there for him to. It's kind of like laid out already for them, which is good because it kind of makes booking and creative and writing easier for whoever the hell's in charge.
Definitely.
Seth Rollins is the easy. It's right there for them to just put out for them. There's more than just they dislike each other. There's been they've been dissing each other in the media for mad years, no matter what companies they were a part of. There's also the conflict of how they feel about the business, how they feel about the company. Punk's obviously had his issues with the company in the past. Seth, whether he felt like he was wronged or righted, always kind of stuck up for the business. So there's that conflict as well, on top of the fact that they don't really like each other. So there's definitely a lot there, and I definitely think there's basically no way to mess this up, which is good because it'll get the viewership back easy, and I feel like there's a lot of easy ways to go that'll keep the fans happy. I'm personally hyped to have him back. Simply because, like I said, now that I'm older, I get the appeal. When I was an anti-Punk as a kid. Like, you got to remember, when he was in his prime in WWE, I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. So
right.
I had less of an understanding of how the business works. Now, and I'm 23 now. So I think for me, now that I have a better understanding of that, I get to see, like, with an older, fresher, more mature mindset as to how he can go about the business and to see how he's grown or hasn't grown, if anything. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what he has in store for us in terms of his return. I definitely think they should take the route of, they're gonna eat it up at first. They're gonna love him. They're gonna love the fact that he's back. The nostalgia, the memories are gonna come back from this business. But ultimately, I think it would be the best option to turn him heel as quick as we possibly can, because at the end of the day, his best work, at least in this company, were as a heel feuding with some of the top baby faces in his prime.
The natural.
Yeah, he's the natural. Like, because think about it, even besides the business, he comes across as a guy that's a heel in real goddamn life. So it's like he just seems like that prick who's just in his natural state of being a heel, walking around life regular at the grocery store. You know what I mean? So I definitely think they need to, obviously Rollins is at the top of the babyface chain right now. So I definitely think that a heel Punk is going to be the best option in the next few months, leading up to whether it's Mania and stuff like that. So I'm excited to have him back, simply because I'm older now and I have a better understanding as to what his value was to the business. I understand, and I kind of agree with why people might not be too big on Punk. But I'm excited to have him back in terms of maybe him the possibly making things right, but also I want him to have him back because I have a better understanding of his best heel work when he was in his prime in this company. So it's definitely gonna be fun.
I agree with most of what you guys are saying. I'm a Punk fan. I get it. I get who he is as a gimmick and the anti-establishment. The fuck you. I'm gonna do what I want to do my way. I kind of connect with that, so that's why I think I'm a fan of his. But him coming back to the WWE and saying I'm home was kind of like almost a little bit of a slap in the face.
Oh, it was disgusting.
Right. It's like, dude, you tried to, you sued the company, you talked all this shit, you tried to go to another company, AEW, and make them some sort of competition, which if that worked out, he probably could have brought them up to almost that, not globally, but within the United States. I don't think AEW will ever touch WWE globally. There's no way. They'd have to be around. They'd have to be around for 3 to 4 decades before they reach that. Maybe with the way media is now, half that time, but still, there's no way they're going to be at that level. But within the U.S., he could have brought them up to 1A, 1B. But we see how that goes, and we'll talk about that downfall a little bit later. But back to Punk, him coming out, Seth Rollins, I can't really tell if it's a work or a shoot. If it's a work shoot that they've agreed to just trash each other now to the point where let's make these millions, which would be the smart thing to do.
I think it's a work.
I think it
could be both.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think
could be both.
We've said it in our chats in the back. We've said Seth's not that good of an actor. We know he's not. So that was his best performance at the end of Survivor Series when fan cams were the only ones catching it, because there was no WWE cam but the wide angle cam that caught that. So that was all fan cams that caught it.
Yeah, but they do stuff like that on purpose.
Because they know people are going to pull the cameras out and record.
Yeah, exactly.
They know it's going to be on the internet within 2 seconds.
It's a good way to work it into and work him straight into that storyline with Seth.
That's their genius.
It's a great way to do it, but there's definitely animosity between the two of them. I'm sure they hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, they hate each other. But back to the best in the world thing, that's just his gimmick. I don't even think that he really thinks like he is the best wrestler in the world at this point.
He better not.
Maybe at one point in time he might have been up in the 1A, 1B, 1C category with other dudes, but there's no way he could actually really believe at this time in his life, at that age, that he's the best to do it right now. That's just his gimmick. And of course, he's so, like King said, that's his walking around. He's just an asshole, So the heel Punk is the best way to go. If they try to do two faces against each other, it's not going to work.
Mm-mm.
The crowd's not going to work. The crowd will turn on either both of them or most likely Punk, because he's the one. Because then they're going to remember, oh shit, yeah, this guy just left us one day. Because people do have short-term memories, but wrestling fans, we have some long-term memories. We remember a lot of shit. So, but yeah, I'm happy he's back. Let's see what happens. Let's see how far they can push it before maybe he blows up in 3 to 6 months and he's fired or he quits. Who knows? If that's the case, then he is the problem and he just needs to retire and stay away from wrestling for the rest of his life. But hopefully him and Trips can work something out too, because I'm sure they still really don't like each other. And it's only a boss and an employee at the moment. So just be smart, make your money, and put it out there the right way. Hopefully they actually execute. And it's definitely gonna be Rollins, Punk, maybe night 1 or 2, depending which one they want to do for WrestleMania. And the other night is gonna be Cody Roman. And
Yep.
I wonder how AEW feels that two of their biggest stars in 3 years are now going to be headlining WrestleMania. That's kind of embarrassing. If I was Tony Khan, I'd be totally embarrassed that I lost these two guys because let's just roll right into our next topic because of the Bucks.
Now you say that, and I can almost hear Tony Khan spinning that into, well, we built them up to be these stars.
No,
Right.
dude,
Why-
no.
Right after
You
you're
know,
Get the fuck out of here.
yeah,
I
that's,
can,
cocaine's a hell of a drug, man. Cocaine's
They
a
were
hell-
stars before you, and they're gonna be stars after you.
Right.
Like, come on.
No.
Now more so
Right.
Punk than Cody Rhodes, but I see. Yeah, exactly.
now the Bucks. I want to get into them because, so to me, they're kind of at the center of everything we're talking about right now. Simply because the whole long-term, Punk thing that's been going on with AEW over the last year and everything. We all know over the history of wrestling, there's been so many fights backstage, so many issues, people sleeping with this guy's girl, et cetera, all these crazy things that go on. But in the end, most of the time, everybody puts business first, and it
Sid-
usually ends up paying off big time.
Sid stabbed Arn Anderson with a pair of scissors like
Yeah.
7 times. And what, a week and a half later, they're working together. No problem. Let's make this money.
Right. Now, not to say that's like some normal stuff, but
That's the
this is a weird business to begin with. You've watched all these interviews with people and stuff, and heard these crazy stories and stuff. And if even like say 75% of them are true, it's like, now the Young Bucks, right? This whole thing with Punk happens. We don't have to rehash the whole story. Everybody knows. But the key to me, whole thing, and feeds into everything, is the fact that we had heard, and this is based on if everything we've heard is true. So I'm going to preface it with that. But we had heard that, okay, Kenny Omega was okay and open to working with Punk. The whole time it seemed like Tony Khan was kind of trying to play middleman and kind of stay cool with them both and get everything to work in the end. But the only people that we ever heard that wouldn't do it were who? The Young Bucks. Okay. We heard that, they said that they'd work with him after a year or after 6 months if he didn't have any issues or, confrontations backstage or blah, 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 and whatnot. And let's keep in mind, they are executive vice presidents at the company. I don't really know what that actually means in the big picture, because really it seems like Tony Khan's the one calling the shots. I don't know how much say they actually get and stuff, and how much he actually relies on them for a lot of the day-to-day stuff. It could be a lot, it could be a little. I don't know. But point being, unless CM Punk knocked both these dudes out cold and started peeing on them in that fight that we haven't heard much about, right? They're the ones that barged into his locker room. We know that from what we've come to learn. What I want to know is, why would they not want to work with him, knowing we all knew it, we all said it, everybody was like, yo, if they could just do business right now, this would be the biggest thing in wrestling, period. And it would have given AEW such a boost, like a rocket, because of all the drama and everything. It's just it's such a 2023 nowadays type of thing. It could have been crazy, and it would have been great even if it sucked in the ring. You know what I mean? And it just blows my mind that these two just couldn't see past whatever their issue was with it to get to the bag. Because ultimately, the whole point when you're an executive vice president of the company is to make the company more money, right? That's usually, if you have shareholders, that's the game. So I don't understand it. I know if you put Vince McMahon in that role, he's doing it every time. You put Triple H in that role, he's doing it every time. You put William Regal, and pretty much even Bryan Danielson. I could go on down the line. I could name pretty much 95% of the AEW roster and say the same thing. And it's just there. I don't know what happened. Did Punk slap their mom's breast in the back room, and give her like a wedgie or something. Like I don't. It had to have been something extreme for them to not see past whatever the issue was and do business, because it would have been big business. And I personally, there are another couple people I just don't get the appeal of at all, with their 72, super kicks in a match and nobody has a concussion nonsense. Like they're or having like 20 people stand outside the ring while they do a backflip and onto them and they catch them, and I'm just like, this is corny.
Those spots are so brutal, dude, to watch. Like, they're the most visually unappealing thing probably in the sport. Like,
Absolutely. And those are the type of things that draw the casual away from wrestling, because they're like, oh man, that's so obviously corny. Like, and those are the things that actually like don't let people appreciate wrestling in a lot of cases. And it's like, they just blow my mind. I can't believe it. I don't understand how, if I was Tony Khan, I probably would have suspended them for longer just based off of that alone. I'm like, you're not going to do business? Then you ain't doing business. You're going to sit at home for 8 months to a year. I'll keep paying you because I pay everybody, but you're not getting on TV either until you grow up and learn how to put the business first, because you're an executive vice president. Or like, sorry, there isn't a spot for you until, this amount of time. Maybe you'll think about it and figure it out. So that's the thing with it. I'm a big AEW fan. I think the match quality, except for a few things I could complain about, the flippy stuff I was just saying, like in some of the matches like that are pretty bad. But as far as like
that's
overall,
across the sport in general, like in any company, it's just they're just bad ideas. Like whenever they choreograph these matches, or whenever it's like, whether it's freestyle, sometimes it's brutal to watch. It's not fun to watch, and nobody likes to watch it either. Like, unless it's really well done and it's like one person doing the spot within one other person, it's really not a fun watch. It takes long. It looks like it's practiced maybe once and then they just throw it in a match. It's brutal to watch.
Yeah, exactly. It takes away from believability too. Like my idea, like great wrestling is like WrestleMania 30. My like ultimate, like, to me, peak, like exactly in my mind what I want to see from professional wrestling is WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. Like everything they did had purpose. There was an ebb and flow to it, but nothing they did looked choreographed and corny. It looked like two guys trying to beat the crap out of each other using wrestling moves, which is like the ultimate to me. So these guys are far from that to me. Now you subtract that out of it and just think about the business aspect I was covering. I'm just like, I don't understand why they have a job still, to be honest with you. I don't get it. But
not worth the time.
that's based on what we know. There could be something else going on we don't know about. Then, okay, I apologize. My bad. Sorry, Bucky's. But, it is what it is.
There's obviously something going on because now they're on a leave of absence. And so that's kind of strange. It all correlating with Punk debuting back in WWE, them taking their leave. Their booking has been horrible. They've been complaining about their booking. And Tony's the one that books them. Tony's their boss, direct both ways, business-wise and on camera. And so he obviously is starting to see that what we're seeing and what other fans are seeing is that maybe these aren't the guys, Maybe I shouldn't back them 100% anymore, which is a good thing. He needs to break away from that bullshit. Yeah. I'm actually a fan of the older indie wrestling, because indie wrestling now is ROH, basically. There is no real indie scene anymore. But back, I get mad that people act like they're the faces of indie wrestling, which is ridiculous to me.
That's Matt Cardona, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely right now. But a lot of people when before AEW and before they were big in New Japan, they were the indie guys, which is kind of bullshit because they were still the flippy doodah guys that even the real indie guys were looking at like, what the hell are you doing? You're making our business look fake. Stop making it look fake. And the Tower of Doom spots suck. The big setups for the flips suck. All that should be outlawed. They should ban all those kind of. They have lists of banned moves. Why not throw that out there?
It's kind of like, oh, let's throw on a circus instead of a badass wrestling match.
They're acrobats that know how to sell merch. That's what
There's no one that can like the best. Even the best in the business can't sell the shit for the life of them. It's not even their fault. It's just that bad of a spot, dude. It's like no matter, you can be the best professional, you can be the safest worker possible, you can be the best seller in the industry. That spot is so bad that when you're focusing so much on protecting the opponent, that there's no way for you to make it look believable. It's that bad of a freaking spot.
They're like,
It's that bad.
right. Everybody's waiting for about 35 seconds. Let's set up.
Think of the best seller in the industry that you know. They can be on the receiving end of that spot, and they can't make it look good.
Dolph couldn't even make that look good.
Dolph couldn't even make it look good, dude.
Shawn Michaels couldn't even make that shit look good.
No.
They'd be like, get the fuck out of here. A dude like Shawn Michaels, if they even brought that to him and were like, we want,
they'd be like, absolutely not.
Doing right? Like, are you crazy? Like, think about this. Think about physics. Think about
this is a circus. This is bringing circus to a wrestling match at that point.
They're acrobats that know how to sell.
Yeah, which is like
they really are.
It looks cool, but like it ain't for this. Like,
and rumor has it when they come back, they're already planning a super heel action with the big names, the likes of Colt Cabana and Brandon Cutler. You know, super heels that throw together and run roughshod over AEW. I mean, come on. You know, like what?
There's no salvaging Brandon Cutler at this point. They've like just that guy from day one has been treated like a joke the entire time.
He is.
And then who was it? Colt Cabana? Like his name alone, just you can't take him seriously.
Oh, and like, you know they're only adding him to try to jab at Punk.
Yeah.
They only keep him around to keep jabbing at Punk. It's like, okay, you know, yeah, we get it. You're friends with his old best friend. Get over it. They are children. They're school children. But what is Cornette's middle schoolers? He's always calling them middle schoolers.
Yep.
They really are. They really are middle schoolers. It's kind of ridiculous. Hopefully,
I point out too. I leave Kenny Omega out of all of this because when that, like I said earlier, like he was the one that was
willing to do business. He was the only one.
Yeah.
You can see he's kind of distancing himself from them too. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen any of the what is it, being the elites recently.
They're ending that soon, I believe. I think they're not ending it.
I haven't seen anything pop up, and I follow it so I can actually see what the hell's going on. And I haven't seen much. So, and I on TV, obviously they're going to distance him as far away as possible. So that's a good thing too. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Omega. I think he is kind of like overblown, and he does do a lot of those spots that are like, all right, you know, the suspend your believability to a point. But he is a good wrestler. He definitely is. But I'll take a Will Ospreay over him any day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that was a big signing for them too. Honestly, Will Ospreay is like, that dude's probably the best in-ring guy in the world right now. And he's getting back to the mic too. So it's like, that was a good get for them because now they got, if they lock up MJF too, you're looking at them two move forward. They got Adam Cole. Like they got a good set of people. And then you got like your Christian Cages and your Adam Copelands who are a little older but can like help out. They do have a good core. They just need to figure out the middle and lower cards and kind of weed out a lot of the trash, I guess you could say, because there is some trash there for sure.
They also need to learn how to tell a story without going to the extreme violent side of everything. Let's just talk about that Hangman and Swerve match. That was kind of over the top ridiculousness. If you like car crash hardcore matches, it was great. It was up there, maybe top 5 hardcore matches ever. But believability, both those dudes should be dead from that match. They should be dead from that match. But that's how Tony, I think, he thinks a story is like, let's say he's the Michael Bay of booking. Explosions, car crashes, let's blow everything up, and that's our story.
Well, yeah, to me, that's a good comparison because to me, I'm like, well, he's a storyteller. He's just not necessarily that good at it all the time.
Right.
He has his moments, but I mean, his hit rate's probably like what, like say 25%. just based on like the storylines alone that they've done, because a lot have missed, but then you've had a few that really were good. But you don't know how much of that's him and that's how much of that is the producers and the wrestlers themselves, because there is a lot more involvement from the talent in regards to what they're doing on screen and, you know, story wise and whatnot, and how they're telling these stories. So maybe that right there is the difference, and maybe that needs to be kind of honed in a little bit. Almost do what Disney just did with Star Wars by putting Dave Filoni in charge of the storytelling of the Star Wars universe. Keep it all, you know, working together in unison. I think they need to do something like that and have somebody other than Tony Khan who can really do all that and maybe take over not the majority of the booking, but also just get Tony's overall, like, all right, I'm definitely not doing that. Do this, but like, you know, give Tony a break a little bit too. I mean, the guy is wearing a lot of hats there and doing a lot of things. He doesn't necessarily need to be doing that as well. I understand the want to, because it's his thing. It's just like Vince never wanted to let go of power, and because he built it, so he wanted to run it. So I get it, but you also got to look at it realistically with the ratings and things like that. They're not where they would like them. But also, who knows what, you know, Turner's telling them behind the scenes at, you know, TBS and TNT, and they could be like, no, we're loving it. Don't even worry about it. You're good. You're good. You're good. And maybe that isn't even a thought for them.
They seem to have a lot of freedom from the network. They definitely have a lot of freedom because they're pushing the boundaries constantly. So.
Yeah, and it seems like the only time they really got any pushback was when I think Moxley was dropping F-bombs.
That, and when Homeboy pulled out the pizza cutter on Jericho, and then the Domino's ad hit up on the split screen.
Yo, I don't care. That was worth the fine if I'm Tony Khan. I would have been like, yo, I'll take that all day. That's like a classic moment of television right there. You can't beat that. That's beautiful.
No, yeah. You gotta just eat that at that point. You're just like,
what a coincidence.
What are you gonna do?
What a damn coincidence to happen on
20K.
It's a great moment. It's a great botch in the history of wrestling. So, but yeah, Tony needs to hire a booker. He really does. He needs to hire somebody that knows, that's been in the business. Because Tony's really, when it comes down to it, he's us if we had mad dough and wanted to start a wrestling organization.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be doing that.
Yeah. We know wrestling. We've watched it all our lives. But should we go in and start our own shit and be like, okay, we're gonna tell all these stories? No, you know, if we did start it, we would hire someone that knew what they were doing.
Yeah, it'd be like when you play in a wrestling game. Like for me, Kevin Owens would have every title in the WWE, both tag titles by himself. Like, you know what I mean? They'd be like,
what's going
on here?
What's going on? But yeah, it's a wild time, man. It's a wild time in wrestling. I think WWE is getting better every day. And I think AEW is kind of like losing its luster every day, it seems. And hopefully they can turn it around. And they've, like you said, they've had some great storylines. What's their greatest storyline? Who was involved? MJF and Punk. It's like, you know, because you've lost one, don't lose the other. I don't think they'll lose MJF at all. I think he'll stay.
I suspect he'll be already signed. I think after all that stuff, I think he really already signed behind the scenes. They just have an announcement so they can kind of keep playing that whole Big War 24 thing.
Yeah, he posted a picture of him and Cody Rhodes that he's used like 45 different times the other day, saying, "Oh, we good to catch up with the Roadster and shit at Survivor Series." It was like, no, that's not even. He even had the net covered because he didn't have the tattoo at the time, so he had the net covered with the towel. So it's like, yeah, all right, bro. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He's playing it, but I think he's re-signed too, and I think they're paying him a lot of freaking money.
Oh,
and
they have to, because
he deserves it. He deserves every penny he's getting. He carries the company. And so let's get into who's the devil. We talked about this in past episodes. Now that it's evolved a bit, who do we still think? Do we still think it's Cole? Do we still think it's our picks from last time?
I'm sticking with Adam Cole. Yeah. I think the swerve is them going so hard in the other direction, but nothing they've done has really disproven the fact it could be him. It's only lent to it.
I've converted to Adam Cole now that a couple weeks have gone by, maybe an episode or two, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I've converted from Roger Strong to Adam Cole now.
Roderick Strong is doing his best work ever, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's brilliant, dude. He's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, and he used to have no personality, nothing. Like in NXT, he was just like there, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give him a lot to work with, but now he's hilarious.
I'm trying to think on like who's out there that not signed to any company. I've been trying to rack my brain and see what's the biggest name they could bring in to be the devil, and I can't find anyone.
The market's not as big as you think. Like all the anybody that you would possibly think. Everybody.
McIntyre is the biggest thing coming up soon.
Right. Both companies are just stacked.
That was freaking insane.
But yeah, I'm starting to lean toward it's Cole, and they're gonna cover. I think the next pay-per-view maybe, or the next maybe the episode after that next pay-per-view, they're gonna come out with it's Cole. He'll just get up out of his chair, snap that little leg thing off, and start beating him down. Because who's MJF's next feud right now? Who's he feuding with?
Samoa Joe right now. It's what? Yeah. Then I don't know if they've set anything up after that yet.
I don't think so either. I think it's just Joe. So obviously they're not going to put the title on Joe. They're not going to let Joe be the one to take it from him. I don't think they're going to let Cole take it from him either. I think they're going to keep riding with the MJF babyface wave and make him even a bigger face.
They're going to use the devil being like Cole or whoever the hell it is. They're just going to use it to further like his babyface, right. You know what I mean? They're going to just use it to further that storyline, which they probably should. So,
people are buying into it, though.
Yeah, they can even use it as he's like defeating his own devils, blah blah blah. You know, I mean, they can weave it in so many different ways.
Right.
Yep. And then when he finally turns back hard heel, that's great. Because I love heel MJF. He constantly makes me laugh. It's like Christian Cage right now. It's like the same deal. Like
I think Christian Cage is the best heel in the entire business. I think.
Absolutely. The stuff he says, man, I'm just like, yo, he really just said that to somebody, like to their face. Like it's so like just below the belt, like kick to the balls. It's just a thing of beauty. I love it.
Yeah, no, he's excellent. And it's actually like at this point in his career, he's actually better at it than I thought he would be. But in terms of the entire business, I think he's definitely the best heel in the business right now, and I don't think it's necessarily close either. In terms of individual heel, like whether you want to argue like factions and stuff like that have multiple, I guess, but like in terms of individual heels, he's probably the best in the business for sure.
Yeah, because you're gonna have people that might go, "Oh, Roman Reigns," because he's been the champion forever and the Bloodline storyline and blah blah blah. But it's like it's a different thing.
He's almost not even a heel anymore, Roman. He's like
he's one of those situations where to a degree he's a cheered heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's also kind of the chicken shit heel at the same time.
Yeah, which I'm not afraid that it's gonna happen with Punk, but I just don't know if like a cheered heel would be good for him. Like I think he needs to be the heel that gets booed out of or they try to boo him out of the arena and it just doesn't work. Because cheered heels are always a weird thing for me because I'm just like I love when people are getting booed and they're getting trashed and obviously because it's all a work, so to a certain degree it's believable in that aspect. When a quote unquote heel comes out and it's and everybody's below, it's like, well, what the hell's the point in this?
Yo,
everybody's gonna cheer for this guy.
I'm guilty of that in 1990.
I am too. I am 100%.
Yeah.
Yo, because everybody was like chant Rocky die, and I'm like, no, fuck you, he's the man. You don't know what you're talking about. This guy's the future. And I was like, I told you. But I will say, most of the time, I 100% agree.
I used to be like that with Edge when he was like the ultimate opportunist or whatever. That's when I was the biggest fan. I would cheer for him from afar. Went to a couple events as a kid, and I'd be the only one cheering in the crowd. Whole time, the whole city of Philly's booing him while he's got the belt on. It's a bad jaw. I'm like, yo, man. I'm like a 7-8-year-old kid. He's like the biggest heel in the entire company, and like I'm cheering for him, and everybody else boo. Like they're booing him like he's a bad halftime show at an Eagles game.
I think we're all on the same page kind of about the Punk situation. it seems. Hopefully they do it right. Hopefully he doesn't blow up and ruin another end of his career, because he should definitely want to go out the right way. He doesn't have much time left.
Yeah,
I mean,
he signed a 3-year deal, so
Yeah.
that lets you know how where his window is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's not that long. You know what I mean?
hopefully he can actually carry himself like a professional. And I mean, backstage reports that everybody was loving him except a couple people. And I'm sure we already know who those couple people are.
Yeah.
It's like keep them away from each other. Make them, if they got to work. But personally, try to keep them as far apart as possible, because you don't need no backstage bullshit that for us to be talking about and the whole world to be blowing up over, and then people get fired that way, because we got people like the Bucks that always air out their dirty laundry on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and disrupt everything and show a bad side of the business that we love around here, because it's getting to be another golden era. I can feel it coming. And a lot of people think that this is the best era of wrestling that there's ever been. I'm not one of those people, because I grew up through the Attitude Era, and I still think that was the top tier wrestling. Even though, as you look back, there was a lot of bullshit, but there was still an era in time that can never be recreated.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And it could be there one day. Just if they would just, if AEW, Tony Khan would just take some of Jim Cornette's advice, some of our advice, and basically the people who think like we do about it, because there is a lot of us out there who view it the same way. And not the overblown, like super dramatic Jim Cornette way of doing it by telling you to eat shit and die because you're an idiot, et cetera, et cetera. Like, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like these things would probably help improve, things. Because these things pretty much have always worked. So, why reinvent the wheel in a way? And if you're gonna, stop calling them independent contractors. You want to change something, change that. It's like, just figure it out.
Yeah, you can't reinvent the wheel. Just add a spoke. Add a spoke to it. Make the wheel a little bit better. You don't need to reinvent that shit.
Exactly.
All right, fellas, we're going to be coming to the end of this episode. It was a great talk. How we do. We're always vibing on this joint. So, what we got coming up, where we can find you, you already know, shameless self-promotion. We do it on all our shows. King, what you got coming up, bro?
So tomorrow, I'm actually going to be on the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast with my man right here. Me and my brother Element are going to be on. We're going to be talking about a whole ton of shit, mostly our new album, Evil is in My Genetics, which is out right now. We actually just put out a link, a Big Cartel link. We're selling physical copies. Half of them bitches already sold. So we're going to have to get a new batch eventually. So, you guys can find me at King Charisma anywhere on any social media platform. I'll get you guys links and stuff like that to buy the physical copies of the CD and everything like that. We're gonna ship them out all across the world. Tomorrow, me and Element talking about our new album, Evil is in My Genetics, tomorrow on the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast.
Yes, sir. Shaw, what you got?
Well, this Friday, December 1st, my birthday to start with, so happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
But also on Friday, my new single, me and Bofat Beats' new single, Ask Your People, is dropping, featuring the Bad Seed, my boy Dirt Russell, with the cuts by Tone Spliff, beat obviously by Bofat. Shit's a banger, so keep that on Friday on all DSPs and everything. We'll be dropping the album in January. I'll also be dropping another album with Silly Grin, probably around the same time in January. So I'm just going to hit them real quick with two of them. And then we got December 8th coming up. We got the show, which I'll let you get into the specifics of. And yeah, man, just music podcasts. That's what we're doing over here. Just making content and making bangers.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Yep, like you said, December 8th, Starlight, Southbridge, Massachusetts. Aliens Exist, No One Cares. Record release party. It's my Ghost of the Machines birthday party also. You guys got to come out if you're in the New England area. I don't want no excuses. It's a Friday night. Get a babysitter. Do what you got to do. Put gas in your car. Get your asses out there. So we got a hell of a lineup. We got Shaw's going to be up on there, Weapon ESP, DOS, Death Over Simplicity. We got Mo Ruckus. We got AV8. We got Paranoia. Am I missing anyone? I'm not sure. But music coming by DJ Deadeye. Dope ass DJ. So it's gonna be a dope night. We're gonna have a cipher in the middle of the show. Any of the MCs in the crowd that want to get up and spit are gonna be able to get up and spit. It's gonna be getting all recorded, going live everywhere. You know how we do. And yeah, tomorrow night, Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. We got Element King Charisma. Y'all definitely better tap in. And Masters of the Gameverse, new episode coming soon. I know it's coming
very soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So other than that, January 9th, which is my birthday, we're going to be launching a new show called Let's Talk About. And we've discussed it before on multiple platforms. It's an interactive experience that I want to bring to everyone and have everyone join us and talk about your life experiences. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about political. We're going to talk about social things. We're going to talk about just about anything, different genres of music. It's every episode is going to be a different topic. And I really would love to have all members of the Culture Corner and people that even aren't members of the Culture Corner that want to join us. All you got to do is click the link that we provide, pop up, we'll bring you on camera, and let's talk about it. You know what I mean? But for Shaw, for King, this is Culture Corner Wrestling, episode 7. We out. Peace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's going for the gorilla press. He got it, did it. Oh, no, leave it. It's over.
My life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes and people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind me, but let me get to